Wow. Just imagine the last years of your life and they made a new movie of your favorite franchise and this is what you get. Just imagine the most expensive movie ever made is an Indiana Jones movie. Just imagine they make another action-adventure movie with Harrison Ford who's at the age of calling kids whippersnappers. Just imagine this movie is so long it puts Sleeping Beauty back to sleep. Just imagine a time where Indiana Jones movie loses hundreds of millions of dollars. Just imagine they make our beloved hero Indy into an old, depressed, miserable, incompetent, dumb, cowardly, alcoholic, asshole mess of a human being. Just imagine they replace our hero whose name is on the title of the movie with a much more stronger, smarter, and more complete badass at everything girl boss, who is definitely not an insufferable feminist. Just imagine the actress who they got to play this unbearable feminist is a woman who can't act and is just as unbearable as her character. Just imagine. I love this movie. It encaptures everything modern filmmaking has to offer. Amazing use of green screen and more green screen to even sometimes blue screen. The new and perfect de-aging technology that makes Harrison Ford's face look more rubbery than Madonna's face. The precision and artistic creative direction by the amazing director James Mangold show the excellence and peak of modern cinema. His way of putting the most cohesive story and plot lines that are more tangled and knotted than Chewbacca's pubes into a story that cuts through time easier than a hot knife slicing through some butter. They even took notes from the amazing movie The Irishman, Martin Scorsese's decision by taking an 80-year-old actor that moves like an expired fossil fuel and portray them as a strong, flexible, oiled up 30-year-old. Man, if I moved like that in my 30s, I know I'd be living forever. They took an actual ancient device, the Antikythera, where scientists don't even know what its full purpose is, and they gave it a magical bullshit power of going back in time because Archimedes, who designed it 2,000 years ago, just knew how to do that? I have never seen CGI this good before. It's not a surprise from this being the most expensive movie ever made, just like the most expensive show ever made, using their money and the limited resources to deliver top CGI that is almost indistinguishable from real life. Was that a real bar of soap or just CGI? Who knows? Let's spend the extra thousands of dollars to render out a 3D image of a bar of soap for it to look like a block of silicone. CGI or real? Somebody's gotta pick it up.
Man, this shit kinda hot.
They took car chase sequences to the next level by adding so much green screen and CGI and making it triple the length, taking up a quarter of the film's runtime, with a bunch of nothing going on besides cars driving and not anything new or cool happening. It was very immersive and really exploited the skill set of the stunt coordinators. Seeing Harrison Ford back as Indy and looking like a cold, shriveled up, wrinkly nutsack was exactly what I was looking for. Because sometimes seeing a younger man doing wildly dangerous things can get stale and dull, and could use some of that old wisdom and experience from an old man with osteoporosis. We need to have that old man racist stubborn syndrome. Nothing works better as a secret weapon than popping out those dentures and whipping them across a group of enemies like a batarang. And the unthinkable decision that brings this movie to the next level and engraves itself into the Mount Rushmore of film masterpieces is tearing down the essence and core of Indiana Jones. You see, when it comes to movies, your characters have to change or else it'll be the same thing over and over again. So having Indiana Jones acting completely out of character, almost as if he's a completely different character, but with the same name, with the same actor, is the most logical thing to do. Having him look like the weakest person in the scene is exactly the empowering and inspiring thing that people want to pay to see. Undoing everything that's happened with the real trilogy and even the Crystal Skull is the smartest thing to do for this movie to somewhat make sense. It's the modern KKK Lucasfilm formula by taking a beloved character who's now old and turning him into a bitter, dumb, depressed, miserable, weak, incompetent failure of a human being. No matter what outstanding character building accomplishment they have achieved in the past, all leads down to the path of misery. Because it's impossible to be happy and humble when you're old, you see? All the adversity and obstacles that harden you as a person and help you identify and differentiate paths to a negative life versus a positive one always leads to misery. Nothing's more heart-grabbing than seeing these characters that used to be brave, outsmarting their enemies with their intellect, becoming a beacon of hope, full of life and charisma, help save the world, and made the selfless choice, and now wishing that they're dead, offing themselves forever. And the only thing that gives them joy in life now is birthing the fattest turd that tickles the G-spot on its way out. And then life hits them again when it doesn't flush down, so they have to spend the next 15 minutes plunging. But don't worry, this was all figured out with the most unpredictable modern KKK Lucasfilm formula by introducing a much more stronger, capable, competent, brave, and inspiring female character who never loses an argument because the title of the movie is definitely named after her. She even also saves the day multiple times and even Indy's life. life. And it makes sense because Indy's old. One jump would break his hip. And women throughout history, especially in the year of 1969, were definitely doing what she was doing. Even her. They even went out of their way to literally tell us directly in typical Disney fashion of how great she is.
How did you end up like this?
I mean, resourceful, daring, beautiful, self-sufficient!
Huh. I've seen this before.
You did it on your own. You had rings around them. You're amazing.
Thanks, Disney. I could have never found that out if you didn't tell me that. And Phoebe Waller is really beautiful. I wish my wife could be as beautiful as her. Not even Megan Fox can compete. Megan. That's what I loved about this movie, and most movies being made now, is the destruction of our favorite characters and use them as a tool to introduce the new and improved, diverse female version of them. Use an already established brand to shove in characters that all of us have asked for. Because I didn't want to see a new Indiana Jones movie with Indy, I wanted to see Helena. So thank you for filling one of my wishes on my bucket list, KKK. But nothing ties this movie all together than a good villain. Mads Mikkelsen's son plays a Nazi, and plays it tremendously, because he's just there. Like, he's always there. He's so good, he always appears at their exact location without even knowing that they're there. Nothing screams out inspiring and being a great role model than seeing your characters that used to be awesome and doing the right thing, than now seeing them being a complete dick. How come Short Round wasn't in this movie? Wouldn't it make the most sense if he was in it? Like him being on Indy's first adventure and then being on his last, instead of having this shell of a nothing character? I mean, I guess he isn't as big as he used to be when he was a kid. Probably lost all that charm and star power.
To all of you out there, please keep your dreams alive.
Yeah. I have to say the best part of this movie was John Williams returning. Took me right to the OGs listening to his iconic musical score. And only a 91-year-old John Williams can make a score so good for the very beautiful Helena that it cracked glass and aborted babies throughout the world. But we all have to thank one person and one person only that brought this movie to light and took Lucasfilm straight to the top #1 studio. If you flip the chart upside down, this is the one that brought us the Star Wars sequels that didn't destroy the franchise at all, and all of those amazing Star Wars Disney Plus shows that expanded the universe. And let's not forget the Willow show that was so damn good and popular that they had to take it off Disney Plus so people's dicks and ovaries wouldn't explode from all the awesomeness. And that person is Kathleen Kennedy, or how I like to call her, KKK, from her amazing track record of all the movies that have been cancelled under her. Like Gareth Edwards' Rogue One, that was rewritten and reshot by Tony Gilroy. Josh Trank's Boba Fett movie that was cancelled and made into a show. Lord & Miller's Han Solo movie that was reshot by Ron Howard. Colin Trevorrow's Duel of the Fates, rewritten by J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. Stephen Daldry, Obi-Wan's Kenobi movie that was now a Disney show. James Mangold's Boba Fett, which is now a Disney Plus show. Benioff and Weiss, their Untitled Jedi prequel that was also cancelled. That they rushed season 8 of Game of Thrones, which ruined the entire series for Star Wars, so you can blame Kathleen Kennedy for that one. J.D. Dillard Untitled film cancelled. Kevin Feige and Michael Waldron Untitled film cancelled. Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson Untitled post-episode 9 film replaced by unknown writer or probably cancelled. And don't forget the Taika Waititi film that's probably cancelled, and the Rian Johnson trilogy that is also not ever going to happen. These are all movies that didn't make it because it didn't line up with the amazing vision of KKK. A great studio leader always has directors switching in and out every few weeks for each and every project. A great studio head doesn't listen to the fans and doesn't give them what they want. A great studio head has a declining track record of audience score and box office. That's what great studio heads do. And how does she still have her position? Because of boobies, that's why. And also her amazing creative skill of coming up with well thought out, groundbreaking art. Every production she was in that was amazing was because of her creative decisions. You think those movies were great because of the minds of Steven Spielberg and George Lucas in their prime? Nah, it was all KKK. It was all her, duh. That's why Lucasfilm is in this position it is today. She took a billion-dollar franchise and the most popular ones in Hollywood's history ever and turned them into the most embarrassing money-losing brands of all time. Do you know how much skill and dedication it takes to ruin the legacy of George Lucas? 12 years, actually. That's how long it takes for KKK to do it all. Seems like everything that KKK touches goes up in flames. And she's the leader, and with leaders, there are followers that keep on fueling the fire, spreading into all parts of the town and country, spreading on a message that is just hateful, but also degrading to humans. And if you didn't like their ideas, you are the filth, the garbage, the reason their ideas aren't working. And they start attacking you because you are wrong for even existing. But let's not forget who was the one that left her in charge. So it is his fault. But maybe that was the plan, because he knew this would happen. The best scenario is George Lucas buying back his studio for a discount and locking up his franchise so nobody else can meddle and sabotage it ever again. Well, there you go. Those are my thoughts on Indiana Jones and the diddling of the dicks. Just imagine an Indiana Jones 5 movie where Indy takes a backseat in his own movie to give room for the much better female version of him. Just imagine a world where an Indiana Jones movie comes out with Harrison Ford and nobody cares and it loses money. Just imagine. Ta-ta for now.